Hello everybody, welcome to Pop News HQ. I'm your host Abdullah Malik, joined by
Sharmeen.
We are here to give you this week's headlines. So last week we spoke about Nintendo and their music app that they launched. So we have Nintendo's next generation console. So there's not the music app.
So they've announced a console now?
Not really.
Not really.
There you go. So they've not announced the console, but they've announced that it's going to have an abundant library of games to start. Now,
But we don't even know what the console is.
That's a whole separate thing. But you might be asking, what do you mean they have an abundant library of games? Like, that's really odd, obviously. No, it's because it's backward compatible. So if you have your current Nintendo Switch, for example, the new Nintendo Switch that is going to come, you will be able to play the current Nintendo Switch's games on that.
What about my old DS games?
Okay, I don't think it's that backward compatible, okay? I think there's a slight restriction when it comes to that.
That sucks.
But a lot of people are saying, oh, that's great. That means it's going to be a very big success, because usually backward compatible consoles are successful.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of appeal because it's I don't have to keep buying new games and everything. Yeah.
And the painful transition for hardcore gamers that I cannot relate to at all.
Neither.
But for the hardcore gamers, it's a really big thing when they have to change their consoles, their memory, everything, all their progress in certain stuff just goes away. It's annoying. But having said all of that, the Wii U, I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No, I have
but
not.
But you've heard of the Wii.
Yes.
Right? So the Wii U came after the Wii. And this new thing that they're going to release, that was also backward compatible. So Wii games were available on the Wii U, but it was still a flop. So people are saying
I don't even remember it.
Exactly. Most people don't. And I don't know a single person to this day that had a Wii U, just by the way.
Neither.
I know a lot of people that had the
Wii, but not the Wii U.
No one.
No one.
And so that's why a lot of people are saying that, okay, yeah, while it's great that it will be backward compatible, we don't know if that's enough to be no way.
Yeah.
We got a new app for music and we got backward compatible games. That's all we know for now.
Maybe they're teasing it.
They're definitely teasing it, but it's how long are you going to tease it? I find this not big enough of a teaser. Why would you take this out? Oh, you can use your old games.
Yeah, Nintendo marketing team, please reach out to us for quote comment.
Exactly, yeah. I think we need to give you some ideas. Also, Donald Trump is the
47th president-elect of the United States.
We are not a political channel, so we will not be commenting on that.
We will refrain from commenting.
Of course. But who is Donald Trump's best friend?
Elon Musk. New best friend.
Having said that, Donald Trump said that electric vehicles, he said, I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. So he said, and then he said EVs don't work. Very interesting when your best friend owns the biggest
American based company that makes electric cars.
Car company. But I think he may be saying this because he feels that it's not been benefiting America enough and that the Chinese and Mexican people are benefiting more, because he said that you're hurting American auto workers and you're benefiting China and Mexico.
China, I understand.
I don't understand why Mexico.
I didn't know Mexico makes electric vehicles.
I don't think they do.
Then why?
I don't know. I don't always see logic in certain arguments.
If I were to explain why that would be the case, I'd be getting political. But anyway.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's best.
Also, another, my point of question is, I didn't even know that America had an electric vehicle mandate. I don't even think that's true.
No, they do. And basically what the Biden administration did, from what I read, was they put tax credits. I really don't know much about politics. I'm trying my best. They gave tax credits to people that were buying electric vehicles because it was called, I think, the Electric Vehicle Act or something.
Oh, as in it'd be cheaper to buy an electric vehicle. Yeah,
because they're trying to promote electric vehicles overall over the, American muscle and, that type of stuff. But Trump and his administration have not loved this. So what I'm confused about is,
how does that'll affect Elon Musk really badly though?
But so apparently Trump is going to remove the tax credits and all, which will affect Musk to a certain extent, but he's going to further put import tariffs on the foreign made vehicles. So now if you could buy like a Chinese electric vehicle in the US,
It's higher in price now.
so no, before it was subsidized by the government.
So no longer, now it's not even subsidized, but it's been taxed.
Yeah, it's taxed on top. So he's making it really tough for people to go electric, because we all know Teslas are nice, but they're expensive.
They're expensive.
You know, they're on the higher end. So A, they're not going to be subsidized anymore, and B, they're the only mainly the only electric car option right now that has monopoly in the market. So let's see.
In the American market.
I find this very interesting because they're very close in the sense that Trump promised Musk a role in his administration. Which, first of all, I don't understand. That's like openly saying, "Ki yaar, ye mera dost hai, I still want to give him something."
Because that's what he does.
He's my friend. Again, I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say it's a bit odd that he's done that.
I'm trying very hard to keep my mouth closed right now. I have a lot to say. I was a political science major in university, so I have a lot to say about this. But because this is pop news, I will not.
I was a film major and I have no idea about any of this. Okay, so moving on. AI. OpenAI has just spent over $10 million on like the URL chat.com.
Interesting. Okay.
So the CEO of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, he tweeted chat.com full stop. It automatically routes to ChatGPT. And Dharmesh Shah, who spent over 15.5 million on this thing, on the URL, he claimed that when he bought it, he said that technically, you know, ChatGPT in any chat-based software, the biggest, like the thing that differs you from WhatsApp to iMessage to anything is the UI, the user interface, and the UX of it, the design. And I guess he believes that chat.com is such a nice URL that people wanted, and he's not wrong, because Sam Altman just bought it for over $15.5 million, just the URL. And we know this because Dharmesh Shah posted that he had bought it in, I think, July 2023, and then he sold it a couple of months later, and he did kind of hint at the fact that he sold it for more. Recently, it was now obviously disclosed that it was to ChatGPT, but he also disclosed that he did not pay cash for it. He was actually paid in shares
of the company.
That's
smart.
So that's what I was going to say. I think if someone told me, hey, listen, here's 15.5, north of 15.5 million in shares of ChatGPT, I would welcome it over cash.
100%.
And especially given the fact that recently ChatGPT just made over $6.6 billion. They raised it for just expansion. And ChatGPT now has become a search engine as well for paid users.
Really?
So they are now
but like, how would that work?
taking Google for a run for its money.
Yeah, but like, how would that work? In the sense that Google will still get me the results. How is ChatGPT any different, except for an AI is telling me it?
So if you notice something very interesting as of late, I don't know if you've noticed, when you Google something, now you get an AI suggested answer as well.
Yes, from Meta though, isn't it? No, that's separate. I'm getting confused because on Instagram it's there now also.
Yeah, now it's everywhere.
And on Facebook
it's
also
getting
apparently.
Excessive.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't need
so many.
constant.
I fully feel you. Like if you're on Instagram, why do I need Meta to come and tell me? It's really annoying. But I find the fact that Google has done this very interesting, because Google's probably trying to be like...
Because Google is like, you know what it is? What I found nifty about it is that it's basically sums up the first page of results. So it's like you can easily just see the answer. You don't have to go on other pages. But then it also runs the risk of like everybody's like paying for like sponsorship, like to be like the highest up on the first page, right? But then why am I paying Google that much if it's summing it up for me?
And Google Ads is one of the biggest
ad generating, yeah. So like it's in a weird way counterintuitive.
I never thought of that. I never ever thought of it from that angle. You are so right over there.
Also because ChatGPT, this is my experience with ChatGPT. Sometimes I use it to help me in research, right? Because like if I don't have enough time and I'm in a time crunch and I'm like, okay, I need to look something up, like it gives me the wrong dates. Like if I say, give me something that happened on this date, it says that like, for instance, this movie was released on this date, and I'd go double check because I always double check everything. And it's not the date. It just tells me. And I even pointed it out to ChatGPT. I like replied back and said, ChatGPT, you're wrong. And you know what it said to me?
What?
I'm so sorry. I'm right. Let me help you again. So it gives me another fact, and it's still wrong. So then I said, you're still wrong.
Why are you so mean to ChatGPT?
I'm not. I'm trying to help. Apparently, it's a self-learning thing, right? So if I input the correct information, then it should only help.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm only, if anything, doing my part. You're welcome, Sam Altman. And
he's going to send you some shares as well
yeah,
now.
please do. But like, then the third time around, I finally got something right. But like, that's the thing with the risk of ChatGPT. Yes, it's expanding, and it's like, it is fascinating, of course. But like, I think more than often it is always wrong.
But I'm going to say something. Not everyone is like Sharmeen, okay? Not everyone
is apparently detail oriented.
No, not everyone double check stuff like myself. So I was trying to cheat.
I work for an organization. If I didn't double check stuff, I could get fired.
I was cheating on a test once.
Oh my God.
And I used ChatGPT. And
it's all coming out now.
Unlike Sharmeen, I did not do any like double cross checking, nothing. I got the answer.
Forget that.
I failed.
That. Oh. See, there you go.
I failed because of ChatGPT. Now I'm not. This is a public service message. Please do not use ChatGPT, because now even if you use it to like rewrite something, whatever, you will get caught, because now you have like softwares.
There's like a whole data rights issue. Is that you've agreed to like basically anything you input, from what I've understood, it goes into their system naturally, and if it helps, it's a self-learning algorithm, so it'll help naturally. But they can also sell that information onwards. It's kind of like Facebook. You didn't know that your data was being sold. There's a whole documentary on it.
What data are you putting into ChatGPT they would sell?
I've seen people like I saw a video. Oh my God, I should say this video for reference, but it was hilarious. This woman, because people make accounts on ChatGPT as well. I have not used it. I stay logged out, right?
Out, yeah, same.
Because I don't feel like I need it.
I'm just lazy.
Same. But it's also just like, because I know so much about data privacy and how much of an issue it is, I was like, okay, I also don't want to make an account, because Facebook has already sold my information after decades, and I had no idea.
Yeah, but for me, I'm like, what are you going to steal about me? I'm not that interesting, you know?
Basically, it's about voting rights and like how people run their campaigns. There's a whole thing.
Just won't vote.
I'm not saying there's a reason why I'm a
vote.
Political science major. I was very interested in this stuff. Anyway, the fact is that if you input something even remotely sensitive, let's say to help with a plan of yours at work, or for a test, somebody can buy that data off of ChatGPT.
Well, they can. By all means, they'll also fail. So just whoever stole my stuff, you're going to fail as well, okay?
I mean, in our case, it like, even if they
sell
it doesn't matter.
Low-level individuals. Like you see
it doesn't
people
matter.
At CEO level.
But like, if somebody else used it, for instance, and somebody was like, "Oh, I'm interested in buying this information about something or the other that is sensitive," then you could be in trouble. So it's like everything is murky. Like we said, that Google is basically being counterintuitive with its own ads and its own search system by doing the AI thing.
But I think Google just felt like they were being backed into a corner by ChatGPT, and their first thing, we can also do it, you know?
Yeah, no, fair.
And that's what they've tried to do.
But my point is that there's just a lot of murkiness everywhere, is the point. Like, we don't really know how this is all going to play out.
And I think as time goes on, it just gets worse and worse, because it started off with the Facebook thing, and then it started off with Google, and now I think it's going to keep happening.
And speaking of, like, Elon Musk a couple of years ago was also just like, do you remember he signed like an open letter saying that we need to stop like development of AI for a little while?
Yeah, I remember that very clearly.
And like, I was like, why is that? Like, why? Elon Musk is all for, like progression, like over safety, right? He does not care much about safety, which is fine. He's all about innovation at the cost of safety. Fine. That's his own worldview. Why would he say that? It seems very out of character for him to be like, yo, we need to press pause for a minute.
That's scary.
Yeah, unless it was like...
No, do you know about this? I don't know how far this is true, but from what I remember very vividly, I read this article about how there were two big tech giants. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to say the wrong names.
Not fair.
But they had made these huge like artificial intelligence softwares that could talk and all. And they got both of them to start talking to each other. So imagine you get ChatGPT talk to maybe Meta, for example.
Meta AI.
But this was like on a much, like we have the consumer level version, right? They had like their version.
Yeah.
And both of them started talking in their own language. They created a language and they understood. And it got to a point where they were unable to switch the computers off, because the two systems created their own form of communication and were giving information or whatever to each other, and it was out of control. And after that, from what I recall, is when Elon Musk was like, what are we doing? We need to hold back. And there were multiple cases of this. Like I read up multiple, because I was really into AI when it first came out.
Same.
It was scary to a certain extent.
Yeah.
iRobot, and then maybe now he's inspired after remember the iRobot cars and all. He just took out.
Like, you were telling me this, and what was popping into my head, the scene from Avengers: Age of Ultron, where Ultron is basically still like he's not in the robot yet, and he's conversing with Jarvis. and Jarvis is trying to tell him, and then when Ultron gets a whole lot of information at once, he basically attacks Jarvis because his worldview is that the Avengers are not keeping the Earth safe. They're actually dangerous to the Earth's survival, which in a weird way is actually kind of true also. It's not like it was completely wrong.
What you're saying is very interesting. I think I want to watch Avengers Age of Ultron.
You should. Can I just say, Age of Ultron is madly underrated. People didn't like it when it first came out. I was one of the only people that did, because I find Ultron as a villain to be fascinating.
Oh, I didn't even know Ultron was a villain.
Ultron is a villain. He's basically like in various iterations. Yeah, he's Googling right now. He's basically in a peacekeeping program that is developed by Tony Stark that ends up becoming the villain because it sees the world as the only way to save it and be a peacekeeper is to destroy it and start from scratch.
Sharmeen,
yes.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
For sure, Avengers The Age of Ultron today, because I've watched the first one and I'm thinking this was the second, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to watch second, and then if I like it, I'll watch 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many there are, but there are a lot.
Good luck on your journey.
Thank you. That is a wrap on the tech segment.
Now, there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah, and I think we just went a bit
over-enthusiastic.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good conversations. And next we will be going to the...
It's not blockbuster, but celeb news. All right, so let's get into entertainment. Segue. We don't have an exact segue because we were talking about Avengers. And unfortunately, there's no Marvel news for now. I guess there was so much last week. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of entertainment news, it was slow this week. Except for, I guess, everybody was talking about, obviously, the elections and, all that. But, apart from the fact that he won, there's nothing else to talk about.
No, and I feel like overall what you just said, even with tech, it was quite a slow news week. I think because there's so much happening in the political
with the election
sphere,
cycle, it only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's focus was that. But this one kind of surprised me. This headline kind of made me laugh a little bit, also because I didn't get it. So Tom Hanks says he's been mistaken for Michael Keaton all the time. Now, I am a big fan of both Tom Hanks and Michael Keaton. I don't see how they look alike, but even the article said they don't particularly look alike. However, there are solid data points to take into account when considering the comparison. So here, let me read it to you. The actors are only 5 years apart. Their film debuts are only 2 years apart. Hanks debuted with He Knows You're Alone in 1980, and then Keaton with Rabbit Test in 1978. All right, and they're both married to actresses. Hanks is currently married to Rita Wilson, and Keaton was previously married to Caroline McWilliams. And that apparently because they're of the same age, they're white, they're very successful, they've been vied for the same roles, but they didn't say which. So yeah, I can see the data points.
Yeah, but come on.
I don't really see a resemblance otherwise.
So any white man of that age who's
apparently
an actor and is married is apparently going to get...
Yeah, that's what this article said. I don't really know. I thought it was funny. It was a good giggle. I just wasn't expecting it, I guess.
Before you said, they both are white men, I was going to be like, so wait, so Zendaya and Tom Holland could be the same person technically because they're almost the same age.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's a very... who else is Tom Holland's age? You'd be like, he looks like him. I don't think so. Timothy Chalamet looks nothing like him.
No, but apparently they're both white.
And they're both the same age
group. And they're both actors and they're both unmarried.
And they both starred in movies with Zendaya.
Oh. Yeah. That's our title for today's thing. Tom Holland and Timothy Chalamet. What's the difference?
I love it. Yeah, I guess that one just worked itself out. Anyway, so yeah, fun news, little tidbit.
But are they friends?
Tom Holland and
Timothy Chalamet?
I assume so, yeah.
So they're friends.
Ooh, good segue. It took me 1 second, but I got on. So speaking of Friends, we have sad news this last week that we don't have Friends on Netflix anymore, which is kind of sad because I would actually rewatch Friends after reading this headline. So Courtney Cox says that Jennifer Aniston kept tons of clothes from the set of Friends, and even Monica's like costumes. And according to Courtney Cox, I quote, "Jen holds on to everything." So, yeah. And
should we also just mention, while she was telling us this news, this headline in the office, one guy in the office just goes like, #klepto. Out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere. He just #klepto and he does this, which is a very big surprise. But I don't know, how do you feel about, a star taking... I think when Courtney Cox said this, she holds on to everything. I feel she's kind of doing in a sentimental way.
I think so, because basically how it came about is she was on this podcast called Fashion Neurosis, and Courtney Cox was saying that her daughter was mad that she didn't save any of the clothes from the 90s because it's coming back. But But Courtney Cox was like, she didn't like any of that style at that time, so that's why she didn't keep it. However, Jennifer Aniston is the opposite, and because you're right, sentimental value, she really held on to it, which I would do. I mean,
yeah, but would you hold on to tons of clothes? That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean,
like, where do you get klepto and where do you get?
No, I mean, if I had the net worth of Jennifer Aniston at a house that big with a closet that big, I don't think it'd be much of an issue.
That's so true. That is so true, because if you have all the space to store, you're like, let's just take this.
And if anything, it makes sense because the run of the show was so successful.
Yeah, and you can also just imagine, because Jennifer Aniston, I don't know her at all, but
No,
I mean, she seems like the type of person who just be like, on a Wednesday night going to a class and be like, oh, remember?
I wore this on that episode.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, she's not a klepto. Sorry, I'm going to bleep out his name. Yeah, I don't want him to come under fire.
You didn't mention his name.
I think I just shouldn't, just in case someone sees my lips and he gets flack for it. Actually, I'd say Mikhail. Sorry, she's not a klepto.
You just mentioned his name.
It's okay, we'll bleep it out.
Yeah, it's fine. Next up, now our next two headlines are, I won't lie, I don't watch these two shows, so I don't really care that much. I don't know, I never got into them. That's on me, I guess.
No, and I'll agree with Sharmeen here. These are huge shows.
Huge.
Like massive shows, but even I have not watched them. I watched like maybe like a couple of episodes of the first one.
I wanted to get into the first one, I'll be honest. I think I still might. So the first show in question is Stranger Things Season 5 or Stranger Things 5. They've confirmed that there's going to be a 1-year time jump between the events that happen in Season 4 and what's going to happen. Season 5 is going to be their final season.
Oh, so like a 1 year later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like for instance, the teaser basically arrived on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, for Stranger Things Day. There was a Stranger Things Day by Netflix, which always falls on November the 6th. Because in the show, apparently
that was yesterday. Yeah.
Apparently that's the day that Will Byers' character went missing in Hawkins, Indiana, like in the show, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Great marketing tactic. So the teaser drop basically confirmed a few things, like the time jump, like the fact that it was going to be the final season. And so, like, apparently Season 5 will now pick up in the fall of 1987, which is more than a year after the events of Season 4, which began in March of 1986. So that's what was interesting. Now, it would probably be more interesting to me if I had actually seen the show. I recognize that. I might watch it. I might watch it after it's ended. You know what it is? Because sometimes it's like sometimes I've gotten into shows after they've ended. I won't lie.
But that's also a lot of commitment. Like, for me, I did that with Game of Thrones. And I feel like when you have, like, 10 seasons to watch, it's tough.
I did that with I think Suits. No, I didn't do that.
I'm doing that with Suits right now.
So then how is it any different?
Because
in fact, Suits is even longer. There's like 22 episodes a season.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like I haven't watched it for the past 2 months, because then you start getting tired. Because it's like, because like
I've seen Suits from start to finish 4 times.
Okay, no, I'm still on my first time, and I'm on season 3 and I'm still stuck there. I haven't even hit season 4.
Game of Thrones is like, I actually caught on to Game of Thrones when season 7 was airing. So I'm very grateful that I could anticipate season 8, which ended up not being so great. But anyway, that's besides the point. I got to basically witness the run up and be like basically patiently wait. So I'm really glad that happened for me. But like I caught up like with, let's say, season 7 began airing. I hadn't seen Game of Thrones. Actually, my housemates in uni were like, when I said my favorite show is The Big Bang Theory and I hate Game of Thrones, they literally were like, what is wrong with you? And they literally changed me to the sofa and they all watched it with me. I watched all of season 1 with them, like one every night. And in the beginning, I was like, this is fine. The end of season 1 really got me hooked. And then I think within 3 weeks, I managed to catch up to like season 7.
I think I was actually intrigued within the second or third episode. Wait, I'm gonna give a spoiler here.
It's fine. I'm sorry. It's finished airing.
I still haven't even finished it.
If you haven't finished it or even seen it, but you live on a rock. That's on you.
So when Ned Stark's neck is cut off, is that episode 3 or 4?
That's episode 9. That's the end of season 1.
Okay, yeah, that's when I was like hooked.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it, I was like,
that's the same with everybody who watches it.
Yeah, because I think all of us also think he's one of the main characters. So when you see, but he's the main character in season 1.
Yeah.
But when you see it, you like, at least I thought
shock,
he'd
right?
be there till 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. You never expect that your lead.
Yeah. And I was
actor.
like, they're gonna stop it. They're not gonna take us out. And then they say,
yep.
And you're just like, how could they just do that?
And then peak TV seasons 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, those are
honestly peak TV. Seriously, I don't know where you stopped.
I stopped when Jon Snow was being resurrected.
Okay, that's fair.
I saw that and I was like, I will believe in like dragons.
You've seen the best. that Game of Thrones had to offer, you're good now.
Okay, good. Then I'm not gonna watch more.
I'm not gonna watch more. Like literally, I've rewatched Game of Thrones. I stopped at season 7. In fact, I sometimes even stop at season 6. Season 6's final episode was also like redeeming.
Is that the red season? The red wedding? Red season?
Red wedding was season 2, my friend.
Oh wow. No, but the red wedding took me by surprise as well.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I think we should do a separate Game of Thrones episode.
We need to.
I think we should.
So the next show in question that both Abdullah and I have not seen, Outer Banks. Also, they announced ahead of the final episode of season 4 that apparently just aired. Because apparently, again, Netflix has been splitting shows. Like, they used to drop whole seasons before. Right? Now they go part 1 and part 2. And I'm just like, I don't even understand why. Because I don't even remember what happened in part 1 by the time part 2 comes out. But that's a whole separate issue. So they've said that season 5 of Outer Banks will be its final season. And they're currently working on the scripts for it. And that the end game is in sight.
You know, you just answered your own question. You said you don't know why they do that because you don't remember what happened in part 1. But I think they want people to rewatch it.
Yeah, I know.
But how many people will?
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, there's so much content out there. Like, I have so much on my watch list that I have not even managed to come near.
Same.
Like, I'm finally getting to watch season 4 of Only Murders in the Building, which is something I've actually been waiting for.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, and so many people have not heard of it. I get that because it's a Hulu show. So like,
Hulu shows in Pakistan
limited.
are very like limited. Seldom do you hear about them.
I highly recommend. There's everybody that I've turned Only Murders in the Building onto has loved it.
Is it similar to How to Get Away with Murder? Or no,
How to Get Away with Murder is serious. This is a comedy.
Okay, then I'd like it. I really like a feel good,
and like very good mystery. I promise you will not be able to figure out.
Mystery comedy is like elite combo.
You will never be able to figure out who done it till the last episode. I promise you. I'm saying this as a murder.
Listen, you've given me 2 things to watch tonight. I don't have that much time in one night.
I don't either, but like, try it.
We'll
it's
figure
worth
it out. Yeah, done.
So yeah, that's few Outer Banks fans. Now this is relevant to me because I love this show, even though I don't like to admit it. So Lucas Bravo, sexy chef on Emily in Paris, Gabrielle said, now this I understood, and I'm so glad he said it, that he says he feels frustrated playing Gabrielle because it's not fun anymore. And he goes on to elaborate, he's not just complaining. He basically shared in an interview with IndieWire that his issue is with the character's direction, and all Emily in Paris fans can agree.
Except the French Prime Minister, but
but that basically Gabrielle was such a fun character in season 1.
Yeah.
You really got behind him. You were rooting for him. And he said that it's not... he was like the sexy chef identity was also part of his own identity, Lucas Bravo said. And that we grew apart season after season because of the choices the writers made and the direction they made him take. Like, as he said, I've never been so far away from him. And it kind of showed because like when I was watching season 4, I was like, who is this character?
It was weird. Dude, the whole season...
It was really odd. It felt like they didn't really know what they were doing with him. Like he even said in season 1 there was a lot of him, like himself in Gabrielle, and now he's kind of unaware of his surroundings and he's always victimizing himself.
Yeah.
And like he's literally in the show, and this is very accurately portrayed by Lucas Bravo, that Gabrielle in the show is being manipulated by literally everybody. And like including the writers, that the writers have basically made a choice and there was no room for like him to be like, no, but this is not what Gabrielle would do. And yeah, I mean, the fans noticed it too. There's a reason why people are just really frustrated with season 4.
No, and I feel like even like, okay, he's frustrated, but I feel like even if you look at the character of Emily, like I understand being double-minded about stuff and all, but they just made her seem like she has no idea what she's doing in life. Like, you know, jumping from one decision to the other. Like, I just felt overall the writers are doing a horrible job.
I feel like the writers have lost interest. If I'm being honest, like most Netflix shows, I feel like the writers, everybody at Netflix has just lost interest. Season 2 of Bridgerton was, in my opinion, far superior to season 1. I loved it. I loved the slow burn of it. They decided to change it up. Season 3 was so fast paced, like breakneck speed, that I could not get behind it. And I was really looking forward to it because the character's story in the books, I have not read the books, but I'm also a researcher, so I know what was going to happen, is fascinating. And I felt like they rushed through it. Number 1, it looked really weird production wise. I don't know, like the lighting was a bit weird at a certain point. Even I was like, why does this look cheap? At a certain point I was like, this is looking cheap. And then they just made really weird decisions with the characters, and in my opinion in the long run won't make sense. Like, I don't know. And same with Emily in Paris. Season 1 was really good. There's a reason why everybody got hooked to it. Season 2 was good.
Mid it best.
No, season 3 was mid, but I enjoyed the ending of season 3 because of the plot twist that they dropped. And then season 4 kind of just went out the...
But I'll tell you, season 4 episode... So they did the same thing where they did the first half and second half of the season. I felt the second half of the season was still better than the first half.
Agreed.
The first half, I swear to God, can I tell you, I fast forwarded through. I was watching it with a friend. We were fast forwarding through the first 3 episodes.
I don't blame you.
Non-stop. It was just...
And you know why that is? Because part 2, season 2 of part... oh my God.
Season 4,
season
part
4.
2. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so confusing.
Season
part 2 of season 4 introduced that other character, right? So it became more interesting.
Oh, that
she goes to Rome.
That had the daughter.
And Rome. When she goes to Rome.
Oh, I've not even gotten that far.
No,
I stopped watching it. I have...
The daughter was very interesting. And then when she goes to Rome, the reason why she goes to Rome, fascinating. But see, that's because the other characters that we started off with weren't there. I just don't like the older characters anymore, except for everybody who works in the office.
I used to love Camille.
Yeah, now
I hate her now. I despise her.
And I was just like this because it seemed so one-dimensional as to why she was behaving the way she was behaving.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been such a fascinating story.
And humans aren't like that. So it's seeming very soap opera, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, this is a show that they've actively ruined. Again, and Netflix seems to be a thing that ruin a successful show by season 4 and then cancel it, and also cancel the good shows before they even get started.
Oh, did you ever watch Inside Man?
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, so you've given me 2 things to watch. You need to watch, and all of you, we can watch just one of them. Inside Man.
Okay.
I think it's a 7 or 10 episode limited series. I promise you, I've never watched something so good on Netflix ever. Okay,
no way.
And I was like, insane, and they ended it in a way that you're waiting for season 2. So
and
as soon as it ended, forget cancel. As soon as they ended it, I went and I go on Google and I'm like, when's season 2 coming out? There is no season 2. They didn't they just said nope, we're not doing a season 2.
So limited series are like that though. I'm talking about shows like forever. I will say Justice for the TV show Shadow and Bone. They had such a good mystery like TV show, not a mystery, but like fantasy, and they just cancelled it. Like. It's based on a series of books. I have read the books. The books are very good. It's very much in the vein of, I don't know if you watched those movies in like 2015, like kind of like Percy Jackson type genre where it's like fantasy adventure type.
I've never watched that.
It was like that, but like a slightly grown up version of it. The books have a solid fan base who watched the show, who even went on a campaign to keep rewatching the show to keep it in Netflix's top 10 so it wouldn't get cancelled. Like that much dedication. And they still cancelled it. They canned a perfectly good show. There was nothing wrong with it. It was so fascinating to watch. Good graphics also. And they just cancelled it. Obviously, they deviated from the book slightly, as everyone does, but in a good way. And they still cancelled it. I don't understand. Just because you don't have the best show ever numbers-wise doesn't mean you cancel it and you literally invest in terrible shows.
I feel like they're very money motivated right now, which has always been there because obviously you need to make money, but you also leave a certain amount of creative and artistic
and that's
freedom.
What initially when Netflix sort of had its boom in like 2017, that was what everyone was thinking, right? Everyone was thinking, oh my God, artistic creative freedom, that's why we're making such good content, and that's why people turn to Netflix originals. And now it's just kind of like most Netflix originals I don't even like. The last one I watched that I liked, I guess, was a Netflix original was Love is Blind Habibi. I don't even. That's not even like. I haven't even
watched that.
It's hilarious. So. I would watch that over every single other one, but like anyway, that's my issue with Netflix these days.
Yeah, I feel like Netflix has just started dragging stuff on, but they really just take a step back, listen to the actors, because I feel maybe like actors do get in a character, so maybe like I'm not saying base your entire script off
not
of them,
at all, no.
but take some inspiration, be like, okay, if with the actors feeling this, maybe there's a certain amount of truth to it. If the actors, the fans, everyone is thinking something, maybe there's some truth to it. But yeah, thank you, Sharmeen. That was the blockbuster and celebrity news for the week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I think we just had a lot to say this episode.
We had a lot of opinions this episode.
And I think it was like a slow news week, so it's just good conversations. I'm going to watch Avengers Age of Ultron and the horror what?
Only Murders in the Building.
Only Murders in the Building. And you are going to watch Inside Man tonight.
I'm going to finish Only Murders in the Building first.
And then you are going to watch Inside Man.
Because I'm like so deep into it right now. I love it.
And then you are going to watch Inside Man.
Okay.
Lovely.
Just remind me.
Done. Thank you for joining us on this lovely episode of Pop News HQ.
Bye.